This podcast contains strong language and adult themes. Listener's discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to A Page Too Far, the show where each week one of us reads a book and then tells the other all about it. Will it be good? Will it be bad? Well, let's find out. My name is Gray Skull, and with me is my wonderful co-host, Red Skull. Red Skull, how are you doing? You still dealing with the Sergeant Freedom or whatever his face was?
Yeah. The non-brand, non-copyright issued superhero who just keeps attacking me. I don't know why I can't stop doing Nazi stuff.
So the book I have picked for this week, it is a very long title, so hold on to your pants here. Interviews with the Crystal Skulls, Ancient Secrets of the Multiverse, Unlocking the Healing Codes Within Us, and the Hierarchy of Heaven.
Wow.
It's written by Marguerite Pizzati and co-authored by A.J. Ferrara.
Okay.
I would classify this as a science fiction book, but I
Do
think
they?
No, I think they technically categorize this as, I'm not sure, nonfiction, self-help, educational.
This isn't a book that has a plot, right? This is a book
right,
that is designed to help a person in a certain situation.
Right.
Or life.
So let me just finish the summary here. So it was published in 2020 and is about 152 pages long.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to talk about the authors here because it's very important to understand what this book is about, okay? Reverend Marguerite Pizzati is an ordained interfaith minister and an experienced metaphysical healer who has been actively practicing in the South Florida holistic living community for over 22 years.
I feel like I've probably seen a video with her in it at some point.
Probably. A.J. Ferrara is a screenwriter, producer, and president of Magic City Pictures, based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay.
He's also into the same shit she's into.
Clearly.
And he produced like 3 films, but I've never heard of them. One is called Wreckage. One is called The Book of Judah. So anyways, the reason this book was written was because Pizzati, the woman, she's into all this meditation and crystal magic and stuff like that. And a close friend of hers who is also a practitioner of this sort of thing passed away, sadly. And she inherited 9 crystal skulls from this woman. And the book is about her meditation with the skulls. And so the skulls start talking to her.
Okay. There's very obvious Indiana Jones jokes that are going to be made here. I'm just going to get that out of the way.
It's going to be addressed,
so
okay?
We're done.
That is absolutely going to be addressed.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. So the author begins by explaining what crystal skulls are and how they are purported to function, as well as their place in our history, right? So according to her, and according to some people who are really into ancient aliens theories, these crystal skulls were first discovered at these ancient sites for like the Aztecs and the Mayans, and they're thousands of years old, and it's a mystery at how they came to be because there's no tool markings on these skulls, so how could these primitive people have made them, right? And they apparently have magical powers. This is a quote from another book called The Mysteries of the Crystal Skulls Revealed. Crystal skulls are a form of computer which are able to record energy and vibration that occur around them. The skull will pictorially replay all events or images of the people who have come into contact with them. So it's essentially a way of record keeping. They're ancient computers.
Fascinating.
The crystal skulls are divided into 3 categories. Contemporary crystal skulls, which are modern, manufactured.
Okay.
Old crystal skulls, which are between 100 and 1,500 years old.
That's not a vague range at all.
And ancient crystal skulls, which are more than 1,500 years old. The author talks about the ancient skulls being possibly created by extraterrestrials since, like we said, the creation of certain of these skulls don't have markings of tools or anything, so primitive people can do it. So they're like, aliens must have done it, okay?
They must have.
It's important to note that these supposedly ancient skulls all came from the same individual back in the early 1900s. His name was Eugene Boban.
This guy found all of them.
Apparently. And he sold them to museums and antiquity shops for a lot of money. Nothing suspicious there.
No, not at all. You know, when your source of ancient history is one guy named Eugene, you know you're on the level.
Right. So There is no crystal skulls from any documented excavation or archaeological digs. None. There has never been a documented discovery of a crystal skull from any old civilization or anything like that.
Because they all came from this guy.
Apparently, this guy just made them and made a lot of money and then took off. So right away, the premise is a little skewed.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with me?
Yep. No. Yes, I am with you.
So the beginning and the end of this book were both written by A.J. Ferrara.
Okay.
So he did the introduction and the epilogue.
Yeah.
And he puts at the end of the introduction a disclaimer which says, essentially, if you're looking for scientific evidence, this book is not for you. So, chapter 1, Meet Mo. I'm going to go with each chapter. I'm going to read what the chapter is called because it's very, I think it just makes it better. So
All right.
I'm going to read out the chapters.
I'm here for it.
The first of the 9 skulls is the largest, about the size of a child's head. It is made of dark rainbow fluorite. It is said that fluorite crystal will encourage harmony between mind, body, and spirit by aligning your chakras. So this is way better than Honey Nut Cheerios. You need to have a crystal skull in the morning.
Yeah.
Because that sets you up for a great day, I feel like.
Yeah, you know what they say, one skull a day makes the dentist trip that much closer.
You want to try again?
No.
Okay, moving on.
You can cut it out, you can leave it in, that's fine.
So this first skull's name is Mo, okay?
Oh, so Mo is the skull. Okay.
They have names.
Okay.
They all have names.
Who named them?
I don't know. I'm assuming the woman who now owns them named them.
Or they told her that
they do tell her their names, but sometimes she just ignores them and names them something different.
Oh, okay, that's what you want to do with that ancient mystical power?
That's kind of rude, but that's what happens. So the first one is called Mo. And the crystal's fine with her calling it Mo, I guess. Okay, right? Through Mo, a collective consciousness speaks to Bizati, right? So she starts meditating with these crystals, and she feels this collective consciousness reach out to her and start communicating with her, right? This is true. This is true life. This is not science fiction. This is actually happening.
Right. This is
in a woman's
Florida.
kitchen. Yeah. So we are the brotherhood of light. We are Christ consciousness. We are guides for whatever higher power you may resonate with.
Did you say Christ consciousness was the second one?
Yeah, well, it doesn't say Christ's with like possessive. It just says Christ consciousness.
Okay.
I think that's a typo because there's a lot of typos in this book.
Oh, great.
There's even a point later where she spells someone's name wrong like 4 times in a row.
Is it different each time?
No, she flops between 2 different ways of spelling it, the correct way and the incorrect way, and she just keeps flopping. So
wonderful.
This book was, I think, self-published.
Okay.
Not proofread. She didn't even have fucking spell checker, apparently.
Apparently. But the part that sticks out to me though is it is claiming to be the gateway to whatever deity you happen to serve.
Yes, because these people who are into crystal power believe that all paths lead to the same power, right?
Okay.
So all gods are the same.
Mm-hmm.
All ways of getting there are the same. It's not the journey, it's the destination.
Right.
Sort of.
Right.
The entities speaking through the skulls claim to be multi-universal healers and protectors.
Oh, that's awesome.
Multi-universal meaning they come from different universes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the confusing part. They use the word universe really generally. So they do mean universe in this sense, but later they use universe to mean galaxy, solar system, planets. It's really confusing. But in this sense, it is multi-universal from other universes, not another galaxy, another universe, another dimension, another realm of being, right?
Right.
Ascended beings from distant and ancient civilization. So there's a bit of a difference between the light beings who are part of the collective and ascended beings. And we'll get into that later, okay?
I can't wait.
So what I love about this book is there's so many fascinating science fiction concepts that I wish were fleshed out into a story. But it doesn't, we'll get into it, but like, it's frustrating. At this moment, another skull interjects while Mo is giving her this information, right?
Okay. Back in her kitchen.
This other skull is named Halo. It's called Halo because it has a white halo in its quartz around the crown of the skull.
Yeah.
And it's feminine, okay?
Okay.
And it's also slightly smaller than Mo, a smaller size. So Halo is rose quartz. It's like pink. And Halo is known as the strongest healer in the group.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she fucking D&D reference here.
Yeah. No,
Just-
she chose Life Cleric.
Yeah, Halo is a life cleric. Halo tells Pizzati to open her heart so that love can flow through her. So Halo's basically like, bitch, open your motherfucking heart so I can pour love into you, baby.
Isn't that the premise of every 80s movie with a relatively strong for that time period female lead? You have to open your heart and let love in. That's what's going to defeat the bad guy.
Ripley didn't do that.
Ripley didn't do that. But
She opened her heart and machine guns came out, which is how it should be. That's how it should be.
she manifested love in the form of 50 caliber bullets.
It's the Sarah Connor principle.
Yeah.
So, Pizzati, or I don't know if it's Pizzati or Pizzati. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry.
Lady P.
Lady P continues her conversation with Mo. Halo just interjects and is like, yo, you gotta open yourself up to the love. And then she's like,
Okay,
"Oh,
anyway.
okay, anyway. We were having a conversation
Yeah.
here. Hang on a second. I'll get
For a
to you.
healer, you're kind of rude.
Yeah, so she asks Mo to describe ascension, which ascension is raising your vibration to become part of a higher dimension, right? I'm sorry if you're not familiar with all the lingo with this stuff. It's a little confusing if you're not used to it.
Yeah, full disclosure, I know nothing about any of this, so I'm as fresh as you are.
I had to do a lot of research.
Listener.
I had to do a lot of research just to begin to read this book. So
Wonderful.
she asked Mo about ascension, like to describe it, what it's like.
Mhm.
Mo explains that you must raise your vibrations to release the pain of many lifetimes of negative 3D energy.
3D is the
Meaning-
only kind of hang up that I have there.
It sounds funny. They refer to dimensions as the number and then the letter D. So 3D, 4D, 5D.
Right.
What they mean is third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. There's like 8.
Right. But the third dimension is depth, right? It's the Z axis. Because you have the Y axis, the X
Right.
axis, or the first and the second.
Height, length, and depth.
Depth.
Is the third one.
So you have to get rid of your negative depth.
Well, the depth is full of pain.
Okay.
You get it?
Wow, that's deep.
Right. So you have your height and your length, and those are awesome, but then that depth comes crashing in with a whole lot of fucking pain.
Okay, and that's
misery.
what you have to get rid of to ascend.
Many people do not let go and are stuck in the oppressive energies of 3D. Mo and the others guide people on this path to higher dimensions. That is their purpose.
Okay.
Okay?
So they are the ones who help enlist on the way to nirvana,
Sure. Yeah.
the way to enlightenment.
They teach people how to do it
Mhm.
because they've already done it.
Right.
So they're like, hey, let's show you the ropes so you can join us. That sort of thing.
Right.
Mo then explains that 2 master guardians named Lady Nada and Thoth, who was an Atlantean, used pure thought to merge the third and fifth dimensions in order to create markers that would preserve their knowledge, i.e., the pyramids of Gaza, among others.
The pyramids of Gaza are a convergence of the third and the fifth dimension done by an Atlantean and Lady. What was it? Was
Lady Nada
Lady Nada and Thoth?
and Thoth. Yep.
Thoth.
Thoth is an Egyptian god.
Okay.
I don't know who Lady Nada is. They don't explain that too well.
Okay.
So yeah, they created the pyramids as like a marker of knowledge and technology.
Like a focal point.
Well, more like if future generations need this information, it's here in the pyramid.
Okay. Okay.
And they kind of go into it a little bit later, but it's like the pyramid as we know it is incomplete. There's more underneath that needs to be explored. But of course, the government isn't letting us do that.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
It's, but there's more stuff under there. So, and that stuff would enlighten the world to like a higher plane of not only enlightenment, but technology and advancement, all that sort of stuff.
But the government doesn't want us to do that because they want
I
money. Power?
want to steer away from government conspiratorial stuff in this book because I hate it. So
Fair
We're not going to talk.
Say no more.
So Pizzati asks if people on the path to ascension exist both in 3D and 5D. Mo explains that physically, 3D and 5D are the same. It's the consciousness that changes.
Sure.
Okay.
I have nothing to add to that.
This is going to be boring if you have nothing to add to anything.
Look, all right. Right now, you telling me that the third dimension, which is depth, and the fifth dimension, which I have heard before, is consciousness? Because
Well,
I've heard that the fourth is time
fourth
and the
is
fifth is
time.
consciousness. I've heard that somewhere, though maybe this person thinks something different.
I thought the fifth was love, according to Interstellar.
I saw that movie once when it came out, and all I remember is Matthew McConaughey and Corn and Sadness.
I love that movie up until the very end, where he was like, I think the fifth dimension is love because it can connect people through time and space. And- yeah.
That did happen.
That ruined the whole film for me.
It did change in the third act.
So, anyways.
But she's saying that the third and the fifth are the same. It's just your state of consciousness is what changes between them.
She's saying your physicality doesn't change as you go up dimensions. Until
It's your state of mind.
Right. Until you decide to completely shed your physical form, which happens at a much, much higher.
Nothing changes, nothing changes, nothing changes. You no longer have a body.
Boom, you're gone.
Okay.
You're a ghost. So, chapter 2 is called Halo. We're going to talk to Halo now.
Oh, nice.
He's my favorite game protagonist is Halo.
She.
Please. Is that like...
She has preferred pronouns.
Is that a conflation between Samus and Master Chief? Or are you talking about Halo the Crystal Skull?
I'm talking about Halo the Crystal Skull.
Oh, sorry. Okay. That should be a movie. Halo the Crystal Skull. Anyways, moving on.
It's just Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, but it's Master Chief instead of Indiana Jones.
That would be so awesome!
Just shot for shot, line for line, the exact same movie, but just replaced
I would love that.
like
That would be...
rotoscoped in Master Chief.
Oh my god, I need this. Pizzati asks Halo what their purpose is. Halo says that they transfer energies to whomever meditates with them so that the individual can use the energy to heal themselves. Pizzati says that she wants to learn more about this energy. Halo says, there are particles of light that emit codes that are being downloaded by everyone on Earth. Did you get that? Light codes.
Light codes
Light
being
codes.
downloaded by everyone.
Yes, all the time. Pizzati asks if these light codes are actually beams of light or more like a frequency. Halo says, both. Which is what I would say if I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Yes. Are they beams of light or frequency? Yes.
Yeah, let's move on, which is exactly what Halo does. Well,
Okay.
These codes reside in our bodies until we clear our minds enough to unlock them. They're cheat codes, basically.
Oh, yeah. Up, down, down, left, right,
Yeah.
BA, start.
Once you've unlocked the cheat code, you can heal cancer, you can jump 30 feet in the air, that sort of thing. So,
Let me ask you a question.
okay.
Where is anyone who can do this?
They're in India on top of a mountain. You have to go find them, but they're super secluded and they don't want to talk to anyone, I guess.
Perfect.
Once unlocked, these codes can be used to heal any ailment or injury. Halo then changes the subject and begins talking about the creation of the universe by her and the others within the collective life force that is part of the creator, which is referred to as all that is. Did you get that? That was kind of a long sentence.
It was a long sentence. So they are part of the creator in that I'm assuming they're like considered one, if not one consciousness, one.
Well, they are a collective. So it's hard to explain because they are individuals, but they all work in harmony. So they are effectively a collective consciousness, but they don't have to be. They can decide to do their own thing, but they're all deciding to work together.
This is very the Valar from Silmarillion.
Yes, there are so many parallels to Lord of the Rings. I'm glad you noticed that because these crystal skulls are the fucking like Maiar and in the wizards. It's exactly what they are. They just come to guide and help humanity, but not taking any direct action in world events, right?
I hate this.
It's awesome. So,
But it does put it into context.
yeah, it's
And
much
that's very
easier to
helpful.
understand if you're familiar with that.
Yes.
That's pretty much exactly what they're going for. This creation story sounds exactly like the Big Bang and billions of years of stellar evolution. Yeah, so like the way she explains the creation story, it just sounds like the Big Bang and then billions of years of stars forming and solar systems forming and
So mankind got it right.
I guess scientists got it right there.
Cool.
They have some pretty unkind things to say about scientists later in the book.
Oh, I'm
But,
sure. I can't wait.
So, a little further on, Halo talks about light beings from the star system Sirius B coming to Earth and volunteering to incarnate as physical beings in order to experience the physical plane in 4D while still maintaining a higher frequency.
Tourists.
Well, kind of.
Extra dimensional tourists.
This is called the Great Experiment. They make a point of saying that our universe is unique because in this universe, free will exists. That doesn't exist in a lot of other universes.
Mm-hmm.
So the Great Experiment is, what if we take creatures who are given free will and create physical incarnations and see how that plays out? So humanity.
Right.
So it's a big experiment.
Right. Okay.
By the light beings.
Okay.
So basically the first humans came from Sirius B. And they were light beings, just like the beings in this collective talking through the crystal skulls. They were the same. But then they volunteered themselves to come down to a lower dimension. So they're like devolving for the sake of this experiment.
I see.
So they're like, we'll lock ourselves in physical form
Mm-hmm.
and lose access to a lot of this knowledge that we had.
To see what happens if you give us free will.
But they still retained a lot of knowledge and enlightenment. So there was no war, right?
Sure.
They just lived in peace and harmony.
Yeah.
These beings were known as Lemurians, and they perfected the ability to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Lemuria is described as essentially heaven.
Oh.
Everyone can enjoy the pleasures that come with a physical existence while also having their full cosmic memory intact.
Convenient.
Although that's another one of the contradictions in here, because sometimes they say they have their full cosmic memory and sometimes they say they don't because they lowered themselves to a different dimension.
Okay.
So there's it's the whole book is flip-floppy on stuff.
Yeah.
So they'll say one thing and then a couple chapters later they'll contradict it. So heavy lower frequencies brought about a cataclysm that destroyed Lemuria, but the descendants of the Lemurians had spread across the earth and survived, but became 3D and lost their frequency. So the descendants of the Lemurians who did survive the cataclysm
Right.
just became normal people like us.
Right. And they
Right.
lost any connection that they had to the other dimensions and their celestial consciousness.
Yes. The Guardians shifted their consciousness into crystals within the earth so that they would have the protection of Gaia and one day guide humanity to its former frequency.
Do you mean they're gonna guide humanity?
And Gaia is the goddess of the earth.
Right. Yes.
Everyone knows that.
Yes,
of
that I'm
course.
familiar with.
Yep. Halo explains that the reason they were carved into skulls is because they adjusted their energies to inspire the artists that created them. But then she immediately says, but not all of them intended to be skulls.
They're all skulls because they inspired the artist who created them to make them skulls.
Yes.
But they didn't all want to be skulls.
Exactly. So which is it? Did you want to be skulls or did you not? And did you actually make them do that or not?
They rolled a nat 20 when they actually meant to roll like a 15.
Maybe, I don't know. Like, I think one of them was like, oh, if I could be an elephant, oh, you made me a skull too. Oh, that's fine, I guess, whatever. I think that's what happened.
When you go to the hairdresser, just a little off the top. Say no more, fam. You're bald.
That's great. That's exactly what happened. Chapter 3, Earth. The third skull, named Earth, is made of dark brown stromatolite crystal.
I don't know stromatolite.
I don't either. That was the most fascinating thing about this book is learning crystal types. Because crystals are fucking rad. They
are.
look cool. The way they're made is cool.
They have cool properties.
Yeah, like I
Cool actual
literally,
physical properties.
while reading this book, I went online and looked up crystal skulls, see how much they cost, because I want a crystal skull.
Wait, this shelf right here is going to be our trophy
Oh my
shelf.
god! I'm getting crystal skull for the shelf. I'm doing
We're
that.
getting a crystal skull. We're going to put Michael Dorn's signature right there.
If we can get it. Oh, my
Apparently, he's big on Twitter.
Is he?
Apparently, or he was.
Can we slide into his DMs once we have a Twitter?
I don't know if we can slide into his DMs, but we can certainly tweet at him and see what he says.
Where was I?
Earth.
Yeah, so he's made of dark brown stromatolite crystal. Stromatolite is said to hold eternal knowledge. Earth's energy is heavier and more grounded than Mo's or Halo's. I don't know what that means.
I just think it's funny that you said Earth is grounded.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got there. So I'm going to take a stab at this. Halo is love and connection. Mo is a little bit of everything.
Mo is more like an arbiter, a communicator. Halo
Okay.
is a healer, a lover. Earth, which we'll go into, is more of the stability in the group, the
Okay.
foundation,
Okay.
right? So I think that's what it means, but his energy is more grounded. Although it says his energy is heavier, but multiple times in the book, they say that heavy energy is the result of dark forces and is very bad.
He's like Mace Windu. He can use the darkness, but he doesn't let it control him.
That's right. He has Vapad, which skirts the line of dark and light, which makes him so powerful and dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
God, we're such fucking nerds.
Oh, totally.
Like it's always a Star Wars or a Lord of the Rings reference. When Pizzati asks Earth what his role is, he says, "I hold the grid lines that connect us, both above and below the ground. I hold the threads, keeping the light grid strong, so that it is easier for you to connect with us." Could you tell me what that means?
He holds the threads to let us connect with the skulls. It sounds like a really fancy way of saying you can do what you can do because of me, because I exist and I hold everything together.
Good enough. I didn't even bother thinking about it. I wrote it down and moved on.
Look, you asked me, I answered. Is that right? I don't know, but that's what it sounds like.
Earth talks more about the light grid and how it contains these light codes that hold much information. Do you remember the light codes?
Yes, they're the things that we're always being bombarded with, and we have to unlock them.
Right. But apparently they also are held in the light grid, which he helps us connect to.
Is that the pause menu?
I guess that's the options where you have to turn on anti-aliasing. This is confusing because it's like, are the codes in the grid? Are they in us? Where are they everywhere? Does it matter if I use the codes in me or the grid?
I think we're being bombarded with the codes, so the codes have to be somewhere right before they're inside us because they hit us from somewhere. Whether
so you think they hit the grid and then drip off like bacon grease onto us?
I was gonna say more like the grid is the lines that they travel on, like a rail, like a train,
a highway.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, and then it just happens to they're just so physically small or extra dimensionally small that they just hit every person because wherever you are, there's always a grid.
You know, it'd suck if you could feel it.
We don't know that we can't. Maybe we're just used to it.
Maybe we're not aware enough to feel it.
Yeah.
Once we raise our vibration, we will feel it.
Right.
I guarantee that's what this author would say if she could tell us. You must attune yourself to the grid to access this information. These light codes are consistently referred to as a technology. And Pizzati asks Earth if we are living in a matrix, but Earth says no. So, yeah, they do refer to it as a technology, the light codes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not spiritual?
It is.
It's a technology.
It is a technology, but is there? It's not scientific technology.
No. No. And so this makes the author believe that, if it's a technology, then we're living in a simulation. This is a matrix. And then Earth is like, no. That's not how it is.
No, the Wachowski brothers had it wrong.
Earth begins explaining that dark forces are being held back by good groups, like the Pleiades, the Platians, the Pleiadians, I think, and the Syrians.
3 of those were the same word.
The Pleiadians, I believe is how you're supposed to say that.
Pleiadians.
And the Syrians. Not our Syrians, the Syrians from the Sirius star system.
Okay. So there were, just to be clear, there were 2 names there, and you said the first name 3 times.
Yes. So the 2 good groups they mention are the Pleiad.
Once more, please.
The Pleiadians. And the Syrians from Sirius B.
Okay.
Those are 2 of the good groups that are holding these dark forces at bay, right? These dark forces cannot ascend, and so try to prevent humanity from becoming enlightened. So they're frustrated little children that can't join the party. So they don't want anyone going to the party.
Right. If I can't have it, you can't have it either.
Right. Earth then goes on a tangent about how everyone needs to get their noses out of their phones and go camping more often. So, yeah, he talks about how there are electricities that are becoming toxic. They're building up in our bodies. We need to unplug from technology and spend more time with the Earth, naturally, because he's Earth dude, right?
Right.
And he talks about you have to go to the beach and feel the energy from the earth coming through the sands into your feet. I mean, he talks more about, like, not just beach, but, like, you go where there's grass, go where there's dirt, like,
Be
anywhere.
outside.
Right, exactly.
Get away from the computer.
Exactly. So he's a
Don't
boomer.
buy this book on Kindle.
He's a boomer. Chapter 4, The Twins.
Ooh.
This is where it gets sexy. The next two skulls are referred to as the twins. They are called Casper and Maya, or Maya. I don't know which.
Is M-A-Y-A?
Yeah, I think it's Maya.
I would say Maya.
Would you say Maya?
I would say Maya.
Casper and Maya. And are made of red rhodonite crystal. I think this was my favorite crystal because it was like red and really cool looking. Rhodonite creates emotional balance and helps with clearing and activating the heart.
Aw.
So you got high cholesterol? Get some rhodonite up in that bitch. It'll clear out your heart, man. That is the future of medicine.
Back to that dentist joke that didn't land earlier. Haha, it's a callback. Now you can't cut it.
I have no idea what the fuck this is supposed to mean. Clearing and activating the heart.
I mean, it's all chakras, right? It's all the making sure your spiritual energies are aligned, making sure that you don't have anything blocking those pathways.
But activating the heart? Like, your heart is on.
Your physical heart is beating,
Yeah.
but you have a spiritual heart that you need to tap into.
What does it look like when it's not on? Are you a sociopath?
Well, no, that just means that Halo hasn't actually entered and you haven't opened up your heart yet.
This sounds really like they're pressuring me into doing something that I don't want to do.
Just say no.
I did, and she keeps telling me to open up. I don't know what to do. I gave her a restraining order and everything, and she won't stop fucking calling me. This episode is off the rails.
This episode's great.
It's so fucking hot already. God
It's
damn.
ridiculously hot, but you know what? It's fine.
Casper and Maya are twin souls who are part of the Galactic Federation. It's not clear what the Galactic Federation is beyond a coalition of countless souls from across the multiverse.
Somebody call Michael Dorn.
And it's really, there's several points where it will just drop a term or a name or a concept
And then just move on.
and move on and not explain it at all. The Galactic Federation is one of them.
Somebody said we should have a counter for This Never Comes Up Again.
We should. That would be awesome. I don't know how we do that though.
Yeah, I don't know. Would it be episode? We're deciding this here on the air. Would it be episode by episode, or would it be as a whole?
I think episode to episodes. Like, how many of those did we have
In this
an
episode?
episode?
Are the twins Maya and Rudolph?
No, it's Casper and
Casper.
Maya.
Are they two separate skulls, or are they one skull?
They're two separate skulls,
Okay.
but they're both made of the same crystal, same size, same make.
Oh, cool.
So someone went to a crystal shop and they had 10 of this type of crystal, and
Yeah.
so they just picked up 2 of them. That's what I'm gathering.
Or they
from
picked up
this.
10 of them and failed 8 times.
Yeah, or they got stolen or something. I don't know. But yeah, so the book is not clear on what the Galactic Federation is beyond being like a coalition of countless souls from across the multiverse, and some of whom assist lower dimensional beings with ascension. But the Galactic Federation is not about helping people with ascension. It's just that some of the people in the Federation do that. No idea what the Galactic Federation does. It sounds like Star Trek. Isn't that what it's called? Or it's like the Federation of Earth.
The United Federation of Planets.
So, okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. The twins talk about a coming war between the dark forces and the enlightened.
Okay. That makes sense because the Dark Forces were the ones who said if we can't enlighten, no one else can.
Right. Atlantis had succumbed to the dark energies,
God damn it.
and humanity must not allow it to happen again. They claim that this conflict will begin in earnest within the next few years. This came out last year.
Oh,
So
right,
we-
right. 2020.
We have a few years, okay?
Okay.
Before the conflict is like full blown out of the shadows, right?
Does this, maybe this is going too far, does this hold to the belief that Atlantis was a superior civilization in both moral and ecumenical being as well as technologically advanced, and that they essentially did the Kryptonian thing and didn't stop war and violence, so they eventually succumbed to it? Is that the Atlantean history in this system?
Well, it's not clear what the cataclysm that happened was. They say there was no war. And they say they were far advanced in every way beyond us, both morally and philosophically, technologically, all of that. They're way more advanced. It just says they succumbed to dark forces and dark energy. It doesn't say they were at war, because it says they didn't have war. So I don't know what that means. Both Lemuria and Atlantis both like fell into the sea. So I don't know what the fuck is going on in the sea, but you need to stay away from that bitch.
Apparently.
Because it's swallowing whole cities. Like, why do they keep building on the coast? So you need to back it up, man. So the rest of this chapter, the twins go into really, really heavy QAnon conspiracy shit.
Oh, God. No.
So
no.
I'm not going to talk about any of that, okay? We're going to skip all that. But it really falls in line with a lot of QAnon beliefs.
Wow. Of course it does.
And I heard from our very good friend, I'm going to bleep his name, just for the hell of it.
Yep.
We learned from our friend that there are people who believe that Donald Trump is in the 8th dimension.
Right.
Which is actually at odds with this book, because it says if you're at the 8th dimension, you no longer have physical form. So I don't know how he's pulling it off. But he's at the very least a higher dimension than us, which is how he's able to be so brilliant and fight, you know, the deep state,
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Fight those forces of darkness.
So moving on to chapter 5, it's called Blue. The next skull is a labradorite crystal named Blue. It's like my second favorite crystal.
How did he introduce himself? There is one right answer.
I'm blue, da-ba-dee-da-ba-da. Okay, anyway, so labradorite is strongly associated with shamanism and can provide a pathway connecting the heavens with physical reality.
Oh.
Blue's role in the skull family is being a free spirit, feeling more independent than the rest of the collective. So this might be a little hard to explain, but they are individuals, but they agree to be a collective. They all work together. They don't do anything without each other. But he is more free-thinking, more willing to go outside the box than anyone else is. That is his role, is to think outside the box, to suggest things that no one else would suggest, okay? I just want to complain for a moment that my Amazon Fire randomly picks lines of text and just makes them bold for no goddamn reason.
Oh, same, and it underlines them?
Yeah, I don't know why it does that, but it's making reading a little difficult.
Yep.
Blue seems to be the most laid back of the skulls and has innate knowledge of timelines. Blue speaks about underground beings and the old ones that are even deeper. These old ones are the source of all technological inspiration. Through vibrational frequencies, they inseminate ideas in the minds of people on the surface. So basically what he was saying is that there are beings that live underground, and below them, deeper than anyone can dig, there are light beings who have specific jobs to inspire people to create new things and advance. So that advancement is always happening. They're not necessarily steering humanity. They're just making sure humanity is progressing, right?
Sounds like they're steering humanity.
A little bit. It's a little shady, but, you know,
Yeah.
it's the old ones. They're classic. That's
But
what
these are light beings, right? These are not.
They're not evil. Yeah,
They're not evil.
They're other light beings.
Okay.
And they said, we're going to set up shop here and perform this job. Blue talks at length about other sentient species within our solar system that have come and gone in the past ages, including a feline race on Saturn and a race of giants on Jupiter. Changes in our solar system have caused these races to die out or leave, right? Because those planets are not inhabitable.
Right. Yeah.
Which I don't think Jupiter was ever inhabitable. It's a gas giant.
Hey, look, according to this skull made of labradorite.
I forget. Labradorite. Yep. So like Labrador.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's probably found on the Isle of Labrador, if I had to guess.
Maybe. I want to actually look up like how these crystals are formed because they're super cool. So I think he's a fucking liar.
Seems to be.
I don't think anyone lived on Jupiter ever. It's like 90% ammonia, right? I forget exactly what the chemical composition, but it is not. You can't live there. No one can live. I mean,
We can't.
Okay,
What about somebody who breathes ammonia?
I'm gonna say I'm thinking from a point of view of a carbon-based life form.
Carbon-based third dimension life form.
Right. Apparently, silicon-based life forms would thrive on ammonia, so maybe they were silicon giants.
If that's not the name of an HBO miniseries,
like in Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley or yeah.
Wait, Silicon Giants,
Mhm.
Silicon Valley,
Mhm.
Hidden Valley Ranch,
Mhm.
Greens,
Jolly Green
Jolly
Giant.
Green Giant. Oh my God.
We're on to something.
We're on to something.
We cracked it.
I don't know what we're cracking, but
We're cracking, all right.
so that was just about all Blue had to say on that, right? Chapter 6, Zoriath.
Oh, that's a cool name.
I know.
that's like
I'm gonna name my next character Zoriath.
yeah, that's like the big bad guy's name.
It's fucking awesome. And I'm pretty sure later in the book, the author just renames the character accidentally. Like it's very close to Zoriath, but it's something else.
Nice. It's one of the nameless 13 from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Trying to read this book. Okay, I got to stop and say something because trying to read this book is like trying to read the plot of Kingdom Hearts. It is so incomprehensible and nonsensical trying to figure out what the author is trying to say. It reminded me so much of Kingdom Hearts, where it's like, this happened. What was the reason for it happening? I don't know, but it led to this. Why did it lead to that? That doesn't make sense. Like, that was the whole book. The parts that I'm telling you were very carefully put together and deciphered. There's so much shit that I haven't mentioned because I couldn't make heads or tails what it meant. It's like if someone went up to a buffet table, pushed it over, pushed all the food into one big pile, and then I had to go in there and make a plate of food for you. So I had to go in and pick out a chicken leg, some mashed potatoes, make it look pretty, put it in the microwave, and then serve it to you. That's what I'm doing right now.
Thank you for your service.
The book is a pile of old food on the ground. It's a mess. It's a mess. The first half of this book, I was having fun, and at this point, I'm like not having fun anymore because it's not going anywhere. It's just bullshit. Zoriath, or Z, as he's referred to.
Nice. Less cool, but nice.
He is a mixed orange calcite and jade crystal skull.
Ooh.
Very exotic. Orange calcite is a powerful healing crystal and can balance sexual energy.
Oh, no.
And jade blesses whatever it touches and is valued as a dreamstone. I don't know what the fuck that means. Let's move on.
Good dreams.
I guess it
Keep
just
a
means
piece of jade, you'll have good luck and good dreams will follow you.
Sure, okay.
That's very, very Eastern mythology.
It's a sleep aid,
Yeah.
maybe.
Kind of.
Z is from a different universe, unlike the other light beings.
The planet, the solar system, the galaxy, or the actual universe.
So this is actual universe. I translate. Whenever they're talking about galaxy, I change the word from
okay.
universe to galaxy. So if I say universe, it's universe.
Okay. All right.
Z is from a different universe and considers his role to be a teacher and to create balance, which that is said about like every fucking crystal
Aren't they
in one
all
way or another.
teachers and
Yeah.
looking to...
So
okay.
there's a lot of repetition in this book. And literally, like the last 3 chapters of the book, the author just keeps saying the same fucking shit over and over and over. So
You have to read something 7 times before it actually gets into your brain.
I guess. But yeah, a lot of them just say we're teachers and we're healers and stuff. And they all say that.
Open your heart.
Only one of them said that, which is a little concerning. Z says that this universe is unique because of the existence of free will. We already went over that.
Right.
And there are many universal laws that must be understood. Okay?
Like physics and time
Not
and
exactly.
gravity, right?
Not exactly. Let me read to you some of the laws, some of the universal laws. This is not all of them.
Read me the universal commandments.
Some of them are the law of attraction, the law of manifestation, the law of cause and effect, the law of equality, and the law of perception. I'm not going to explain any of those.
Okay.
They offer a little bit of explanation for some of them, but I didn't give a fuck.
Some of those seem self-explanatory. Well, self-explanatory to what I would describe them as.
Okay. Fine, you twisted my arm. I'm going to explain them. The universal law of attraction is that like-minded and like-wise things attract each other.
I thought it was opposites attract.
That's what I thought too, but apparently not, because Z is just laying it down for us.
Okay.
It's the other way around. Things that are similar are attracted to each other.
Maybe that's what we're doing wrong.
I've tried it both ways, man. I'm just stuck right now.
I meant humanity, but okay.
Oh, shit. All right. The law of manifestation, which I don't remember that law. Moving on. The law of cause and effect is kind of obvious. If you do something, there's an effect in stuff that happens, okay?
Okay.
The law of equality, this one was confusing. So it was basically beings of the same dimension are equal. So all of us three-dimensional beings are equal. All of the light beings in the eighth dimension are equal, but we are not equal to higher dimensional beings.
Okay. That it's the caste system.
Sort of. It's a very loving and nurturing caste system. Though.
Yeah. It's the caste system where the goal is to go up, and it's actually possible, and the people who are up help you up.
Reintegration of these laws helps anchor our consciousness in the fifth dimension. I don't know how we got to the fifth dimension. I thought we were stuck in the third dimension.
We are. But we're also simultaneously in the fifth, if you remember back to the...
Well, we are physically, but not
right.
spiritually and mentally. That's the problem.
But this is, reaffirming these laws is helping us get there.
That's not what it says. It says it helps us anchor our consciousness in the fifth dimension.
Anchor it.
Yeah, it doesn't even help us get there.
Okay, so we're already there, and this is just saying... But we're not there, but we are there. But this is just saying that if you hold to these, which doesn't sound like there's any... It doesn't sound like these laws are...
They're not applicable to us.
They are just things that are. They are more akin to scientific laws in that they're not something that we can break.
Right. Understanding these laws was expected during the Lemurian and Atlantean age. It was commonplace that everybody knew these laws. They understood them. They practiced them.
Mm-hmm. How do you... Never mind.
Whatever. We'll move on. It was the reliance on technology that caused their demise. I thought it was dark forces and low vibrations. Now you're telling me it was reliance on technology? This book. I hate it. This is where I'm losing my fucking mind. I was into the concepts. I was into the stuff they were laying down, and now they're just like
they're just openly contradicting.
They're retconning.
Yeah.
They're retconning the lore that I was into.
This is worse than an argument on the internet.
Yeah, so I'm like, what the fuck? Chapter 7, Xantitha and Khan, not Antifa, Xantitha and Khan. Khan! You fucking skull, bitch. The next two skulls are Xantitha, a lepidolite crystal, and Khan. He's another fluorite crystal. We already had a fluorite. So he's another fluorite.
Unoriginal.
Yeah, I know. Lepidolite reduces stress.
It's like lapis?
Kind of. And fluorite creates a clear channel for spiritual guidance, which is not what they said about the other fluorite skull, but whatever. They could do both. I don't care.
Also cleans teeth.
I'm imagining instead of brushing your teeth, you just make out with a crystal skull and then you go to bed. These crystals are both necessary for releasing karma from past lives.
Oh boy, here we go.
Khan explains that there is an energy membrane between universes that prevents lower frequency physical beings from moving between them. Again, this is universes, not galaxies.
Right.
So if we wanted to go to another universe, which we're never going to want to do because we can't even explore our galaxy.
We can't solve our own.
Right. There was no reason to go to another universe. That's too much on our plate. All right. But even if we did try, there is an energy membrane that prevents us from doing that because our physical bodies can't do that.
Right.
Only our consciousness can. So we would have to raise our vibration to a point where we're in a higher enough dimension to get rid of our physical form.
That's how the Flash does things, right? There's certain iterations of the Flash, the DC hero, that can like punch into a person because he can vibrate at such a fast speed. His molecules can go in between theirs and then solidify.
Oh.
And that's like he can walk through walls and stuff because he can vibrate so fast. That's all this is.
The Flash is terrifying.
The Flash is a horrifying concept.
Khan then complains that humans always want to quantify everything and that in reality, there is no limit to anything, which is not true.
I inherently disagree with that argument.
Because they're constantly talking about limits of our dimension.
Yes.
Like, what are you talking about, dude? We're limited by the third dimension.
And also our physical form is limited by that membrane that we can't cross.
Oh my God. Yes. So he's like, humans always want to put a number on everything, but there's no limits to anything. Everything is infinitely possible. And it's like, these crystal skulls might be talking about things that do make sense, and the author is just a moron who can't vocalize it correctly or
Potentially.
write it down.
Potentially.
I don't know. I'm just the book itself is just doing this to me, right? Khan explains that when we dream, it is actually our soul visiting our other selves in separate timelines. So when you are dreaming about doing something or seeing people, you're actually seeing people and doing things in another timeline, right?
So that recurring nightmare that I have where I'm like trapped and I can't run away and there's a thing behind me.
That's real.
That's
man.
existing somewhere.
It's real. That's happening to you in another timeline.
Horrifying.
It is. Isn't it? There's so many implications to that. It's staggering.
Yeah.
Xantitha is not very talkative, but does say that Pizzati will meet another skull from Mexico named Max.
Do you mean Mexico?
This is a skull she's never heard of and doesn't know. This one skull is just like, you got to talk to my buddy. His name's Max. He's down in Mexico right now on vacation, but you should talk to him.
Look, he's legit, I swear.
Yeah.
Just tell him Xantitha sent you.
He's got the good shit. You got to talk to him.
Yeah, we all know it comes from Mexico.
Chapter 8, Revelations.
Oh, no.
So she's met all of the skulls at this point. She creates a grid, as she calls it, with her skulls, organizing them in a way that will maximize their energy potential, and she meditates.
This is just a 9x9 box?
It's like
Or a 3x3, I mean.
if you've seen the old amphitheaters where it's like a quarter circle,
Uh-huh.
it's like that, set up like that, and her skulls are on the outer edge and
Mhm.
stuff.
Okay.
And then she also has crystal wands that form an outline around them to
Naturally.
keep the energy in or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, you can't let it go. You want to direct it all straight into you.
I didn't know. And the
You
crystal.
want to take all of that energy, all of that good energy, and you don't want any of it to escape. You want to put it all into your body.
You want to slurp up every drop of that delicious energy. She begins talking with the skulls again, and this time the Galactic Council is observing. This is not the Galactic Federation. This is the Galactic Council.
I see. Are they related?
I don't know.
Okay.
And it doesn't explain what the Galactic Council is.
Okay.
During this meditation session, the skulls talk about the birth of the Creator, all that is.
Iluvatar?
Yes, there was a void and frequencies within the void colliding with each other, eventually creating a spark. And in that spark, a consciousness was formed. And from that, the cosmic mind grew. That's how God was born. How was there stuff before the Creator? I don't know.
There were frequencies.
Yep.
So love existed before God.
Sure. I guess. Yeah, that checks out.
Okay.
So that's how God was born. So the rest of the chapter is not that exciting or important and nothing. She starts repeating a lot of shit, or the quote unquote skulls start repeating a lot of shit.
Right.
So at the end of the chapter, apparently after her session, in which she talks to angels. Angels are a thing.
Oh,
I don't think I mentioned that yet, but angels are a thing.
they're separate from the enlightened beings. 'Cause that's what I
Yes.
was kind of picturing.
Yes, they are different from the light beings.
Okay.
And they're also different from the ascended masters.
Oh,
There's a hierarchy here, and we'll get to that. But she talked to angels in this session, and then after the session, she went outside and she saw the angels in the sky, and she took a picture.
oh my God.
And I'm gonna show you the picture, and you tell me what you see.
Is the left one or the right one, or both?
It's both. The one
Both.
is zoomed in.
I see. Okay. I see it here. Okay. So this is just outside. It looks like there's Florida vegetation. It's just like outside a building. Looking up into the sky, there is a tree that's backlit by a lamp. A little bit above that, like street light, is the moon. And then there's what appears to be, I would guess, looks like a lens flare. Like there's something
Yes.
on the lens.
Yes.
But it looks like, on the zoomed out picture, it looks like, honestly, it looks like a capital L that's kind of italicized, right? It looks like you have a
It's a little squiggly blob.
little squiggly blob that you kind of rotate on its side at like a
Yes.
slight angle. There's 3 of them
Yep.
in the sky close to the moon. And notably, the ones closest to the moon are the brightest.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And they're perfectly evenly spaced.
they are evenly spaced.
And they are identical.
They are identical. The zoomed in one shows it's very pixelated. I can count the pixels on this thing. I'm not going to, but it does appear to have one pixel that is kind of like it's a solid white, and then there's a little black dot in it that could be representative of a head. I could see how if you're in on this, if you've already bought in, this is confirmation. And then the other could look like a body with some leg, like the L and the bend of the L could look like a body with legs. I could see that, but I don't.
It looks like the glare from the moon.
It looks like the glare from the moon in the lens.
She's pointing the camera on her, or I don't know if it was a phone camera or a camera, but she is pointing the lens at two light sources, like directly. So
yes.
Yeah, it's glare. It's fucking moon glare.
Yes, it is a beautiful sky, though. I mean, that's a gorgeous picture overall.
Yeah, it's all right. The beginning of the book make a big deal about not presenting any scientific evidence.
Right, and then here we are with the photographic evidence.
And here we are with a photo that they are saying is angels.
Right.
So, oh my God! I just noticed. Did you see the little photo grid logo at the bottom?
Yes, I see the photo grid logo at the bottom.
Oh my God! Oh, that's awesome. She couldn't be bothered to put this on a computer and do it that way. This was absolutely taken on a phone.
Yes.
Oh my God! That made this book so much better. This might have knocked it up a notch on the rating. Maybe. Pisotti then decides to have a session focusing on ascended masters and archangels rather than the light beings in the skulls. She had no predetermined line of questions. She just figured we'll sit down and chat about whatever comes to mind. So she sets up another grid. This one's different though. It's like more of an actual like full circle, right? And she makes contact. Those in attendance included Archangel Raphael, Saint Germain, which a lot of paranormal fans out there will recognize as the Count of Saint Germain. Kind of blew my mind when his name dropped there. Lady Nada, and Jesus Christ.
Ooh.
The big man himself. Raphael begins explaining the hierarchy of heaven. First came the collectives. So the collective consciousness that's in the crystals,
Right.
they were one of the first to enter the universe with the creator.
Okay.
Then the angels and archangels came into being.
Mm-hmm.
And the archangels are the highest rank. They're the bosses, apparently. With the exception of Metatron.
Oh, no.
I thought for sure it said Megatron the first
Oh,
time.
Metatron is a name I know.
You know Metatron?
I know of a Metatron.
Oh,
I don't know if it
wonderful.
relates to this Metatron.
And Metatron is the right hand of the creator. So he's above the archangels. And he's an angel, which most of the angels are underneath the archangels. He's just a regular angel, but he's above the archangels because he's
Okay.
the right hand of the creator. The job of the collectives is to seed planets, galaxies, universes with knowledge and energy. The job of the angels is to heal and teach. Here we go again with the same spiel. We're here to heal and teach, even though now it's like the angels, though it's not the collective. So it's like flip-floppy again. Ascended masters are remnant beings from Lemuria and Atlantis, reincarnating themselves whenever they are needed to directly help humanity's progress. So ascended masters are all of the best people that have been on Earth. So
Right.
Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, all the great religious teachers, and also the Count of Saint Germain, which you probably don't know anything about him, but he was apparently an immortal alchemist who did a lot of great things while he was on Earth.
Oh.
But there is very little evidence of his existence.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy named the Count of Saint Germain, but whether or not he was immortal and did the things he did is up to question,
Gotcha.
right? And, and like Da Vinci and all the smartest people, all the most enlightened people, they used to be Atlanteans and Lemurians, and they are just reincarnating over and over because they're on a higher plane of existence, right? They're connected to the three-dimensional and fifth-dimensional realms physically, but they're able to become light beings at their death and then reincarnate later.
Okay, so they're just guiding humanity along its path.
They're hackers.
And yeah, and clearly taking the job of the ancient ones underneath the earth, underneath the old ones. whose
Right.
job it is to guide us in technological advances anyway.
Yeah. So isn't that interesting? That all the most inspired people were light beings. But
Yeah.
at the same time, all that inspiration came from other beings under the earth. a
Yeah.
little problematic, maybe.
Kind of makes me think that human beings are incapable of doing anything on their own,
Yeah.
or just incapable of doing anything because ultimately
just-
whatever we do is being attributed to light beings.
We're just fucking useless. Although they do say that the other sentient species have reached ascension practically on their own. So to them
Sure.
it's like a natural course that a civilization takes eventually.
When that civilization doesn't have free will.
Right. So and they're just like
So
helping
how do you?
with our progress.
Okay, I'm going to dive into this.
Okay.
If a civilization doesn't have free will, that means that there is something, somewhere, or some things determining that civilization's path, and it doesn't have a choice in that matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean that the enlightenment that they experience isn't real, true enlightenment because they didn't discover it, it was forced upon them?
Right. And they're not making a choice to be better.
Right. They are doing what they are told, and what they are told happens to be, according to these skulls, the best thing ever.
So they're robots.
They are robots.
Nothing more.
So now you put humanity in this situation, say, hey, we are going to give you free will, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to perform an experiment. Will you get there or not? But also, we're going to have people in the earth telling you what to do, doing it, and then just in case you don't do it, we're also going to send some of our friends down, and they're going to guide you and put in this technology and get you there, even though you clearly wouldn't get there on your own. And then when they die, they're just going to come back, do it again in the later centuries with even more technology to get you there faster, because in the end, we want to get you there. It's not your choice.
You've got it.
Perfect.
You've got all of it. You don't need to read the book now.
Okay.
So anyways, back to the bullshit. Metatron then begins speaking. He calls himself the creator's administrator, the karmic accountant, which is
That's a great name.
I know. I don't know what you'd use that name for, but I love it. I would, if you were an assassin, I would call myself that if I was an assassin. I'm the karmic accountant.
So good. But also, The Accountant is just a mediocre assassin movie.
With Ben Affleck.
Ben
I
Affleck.
didn't see it.
Yeah. I was going to say Ben Stiller, and I knew that wasn't right.
That would have been a better film, probably.
It was okay.
He says, I am the science. That's what Metatron says. He says, I am the science.
You can't handle the truth. I am the truth.
Pizzati asks him what he means by I am the science, but he does not explain.
Of course not. Why would he? He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to limit himself to explain to us.
I was understandably just as confused as Pizzati. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
He's just bragging.
Okay, so yeah, he doesn't explain that. He says a little bit about how scientists are fools and the Hadron Collider is dumb and trying to find the God particle is dumb.
Did we find the God particle?
I don't know. I don't know. But he's basically saying these scientists just need to meditate more and they're good. They don't need to do science.
Huh.
What I think what he's saying is I am the science. Scientists need to be doing me.
Phrasing, but I'm with you.
Pretty sure that's what he's saying.
The more you commune with Metatron, the more scientific discoveries you'll have because he's the one who is ultimately responsible.
It's getting hot in here, and I don't think it's just the temperature of the room.
Look, homeboy just wants some action.
He does. He's desperate. Next up is Jesus. Jesus talks about the many lives he lived in the past. So he, of course, he was the Christ. We knew that. He was Buddha. He's Muhammad. He was Enoch, which is confusing because Enoch became Metatron. So there's Metatron and Jesus, and they're different. And okay, whatever. Moving on. He was King David, which was weird. And
so he's like 4 different people in his own lineage.
Yeah, he was like his own grandfather every generation.
Yeah.
And he was also the Atlantean Horlet.
I beg your pardon?
Horlet.
Horlett?
Just one T.
Ah.
The Hopi Indians called him the Masao. I hope I'm saying that right. It's probably wrong. The guardian of Earth. He's also best buddies with the Count of Saint Germain, and they go everywhere together.
Oh, man.
Like, literally, they go everywhere together.
You should listen to their discography.
And at this point, the session comes to an end.
Wait, but what's the Horlet?
He was just an Atlantean scientist.
Okay.
He was just a brilliant Atlantean, that's all.
Yeah.
the session, I wrote the session ends. It didn't exactly end. There was more, but I didn't include it because it either didn't make any kind of sense at all, and I didn't know how to phrase it, or it was repeated, or it doesn't matter. The session is over as far as I'm concerned. Chapter 10, The Secrets of Planet Earth.
Ooh.
Mo begins the session with cordial greetings and opens the floor to any ascended masters who wished to speak. So it's the same as the last session. She's talking to more ascended masters.
It's like an open mic night?
Basically, yeah. If they want to talk, get up and talk, they can talk. Saint Germain introduces Lady Nada, and she goes into depth about the complete history of Atlantis and then claims that there is a vast undiscovered complex under the pyramids, which we mentioned earlier.
Right.
The stuff about Atlantis is basically just repeated from earlier in the book with a couple extra things that really don't mean anything to me, like they were in this age for 50,000 years and stuff like that. It just doesn't matter. Saint Germain then drops the bomb when he outs himself as having been Hermes, Merlin, and Thoth himself. Do you remember Thoth?
I remember Thoth.
Thoth and Lady Nada created the pyramids.
Yes.
Out of pure thought. And they were like the fucking kings of Atlantis and shit.
They were the ones who linked the third and the fifth dimension.
Yes. And so Saint Germain is like, yo, I was actually Thoth. And I thought that was pretty cool. He like drops a mic there.
You thought that was pretty cool.
Thoth's father was the high priest of the Temple of Light and spoke the teachings of the Law of One. Do you want to know what the Law of One is?
Is it anything to do with the rule of two?
We don't know what the Law of One is. They don't explain anyway.
Oh.
Saint Germain also says he was Joseph, the father of Jesus. So, okay, this is a theme. Whenever Jesus or Saint Germain talk about their incarnations, they're like, oh, and my best buddy was also there. So Jesus is like, yo, I was Jesus. Everybody knows that. And then Saint Germain was like, oh, and I was his daddy. I was his motherfucking daddy. We were having a banger of a time. So that keeps happening. He keeps being like, I was the prophet Samuel who anointed King David, which was Jesus. Okay. So Jesus was King David. So Saint Germain was Samuel. So he could hang out with David and anoint him eventually as king. Right?
So they're just two bros chilling throughout all time.
Yeah. Wherever one goes, the other is there.
It's freaking good omens.
Yeah, essentially.
It's Azrael and Crowley just chilling throughout all time, just being bros.
I want...
Maybe there's a little bit of sexual tension there.
I want an animated series on this. Just them incarnating in different places, reflecting on past lives. Maybe complaining about whatever the new trend is.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Where were we? So...
He was Thoth.
Yeah, Saint Germain and Jesus were bros all the time. And then the Mother Mary steps up to the mic.
Oh, the lady herself.
Yep. So she steps up and she says some positive shit and then tells Pizzati that she's ready to meet Max.
And this is the Mexico skull.
This is the Mexican skull. Yep.
Who knows? Who Z, I think, said, yo, you got to meet my friend?
Yeah, Zariath was like, yo, you got to meet Max. You're going to meet him, but we got to prepare you first.
Okay.
Which they didn't really do much to prepare her.
They had 3 sessions.
They did have sessions, but they just they didn't talk about Max or they just talked about random shit.
They had to give her, she had to have, so Max is the 103 professor, and she had to get the 101 and the 102 first.
Yeah, that's right. You got to get the basics down.
Yeah.
There's a very frustrating theme in this book about them saying, we're here to give you knowledge. And then when she asks a question, they say, you're not ready to know that. It's really frustrating. It happens a lot in this book. So they'll either tell her, you're not ready to know that, or they'll give a very vague answer, or they'll just change the topic. They're really shady ascended beings, I gotta say.
Well, they want to give her the knowledge that they want to give her.
They're very cagey and careful with what they say to her.
I would say it's protective.
I'm sure they would say that too. Chapter 11, Max Speaks. Pizzati makes an appointment with Max's guardian. And this is the person that owns Max. Because a person owns the crystal skull.
Yes, okay, right. Physical being on Earth, human, owns this actual skull.
This is a real interaction with another human being.
Got it. that threw me off.
We're back into reality. The owner's name is Joanne Parks.
Oh.
So she believes that This is weird. She believes that because the British Museum refused to comment on the age of the skull, that it must be tens of thousands of years old.
It's certainly not just not worth their time.
Yeah, they probably don't give a shit. They're like, it's a crystal skull. What do you mean? How old is it? How the fuck should we know? We can tell you how old the crystal is. We can't tell you how old the skull is, which is another like flaw in the logic, because they do say, well, we know the crystal because of the patterns in it is this old.
Right.
So they just say the skull is that old.
Oh, yes, because
They do that,
the skull grew as a crystal, right? So therefore the crystal is the skull. They are one and the same.
Well, they never say that it grows into a crystal. They believe they're carved.
Right, but no.
But by
it was- no.
advanced beings.
Yeah, and it was carved as soon as the crystal was formed. There was no time for it to grow.
Must have been.
Yeah.
So anyway, they make an appointment. So she wants to come talk to her skull.
To Joanne Parks.
Yep. How would you deal with that phone call? Can I come talk to your crystal skull?
If you have one, you're probably on board.
She probably is, honestly. She probably is.
If you have one, you're trying to get it dated and the museum says no. So you say this is this is tens of thousands of years old because they refuse to comment. You have bought in.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I want to buy a crystal skull.
I mean, it's going to go right there.
How big should it be? Should it be like fist size, just something small? Or should it be a life-size
The biggest
skull?
one was like a baby's head, right? It was like 2 fists, something like that.
Yeah, they weren't that big actually.
So yeah, I mean, it's probably somewhere like
All right, I'll look for
handheld
one.
version.
So some of the bigger ones are actually really expensive. They're like thousands of dollars.
Well,
So-
yeah, it's crystal.
yeah. So we'll get a cheaper crystal.
Get a plastic skull.
No, not a plastic. It has to be crystal, or else it won't work.
Get a silicon-based skull.
I'm still so frustrated. They don't explain why they have to be in the shape of skulls. They don't explain that.
It's not that they have to. It's that is the form that we recognize as being ancient and communicative. Because if it was an elephant talking
I
to us,
guess.
we wouldn't associate it with our culture.
I guess that makes sense. Why did they put that in the book then?
Because I pulled it out of my butt. That's why.
That's the method of writing all of this. Max is a collective that partly merged with the crystal, but the crystal is not from Earth.
Okay.
Which I don't understand why they say he's partly merged. Because the other conscious collectives are fully merged.
Look, he's just not all there.
Yeah, I guess he's not. And
He's the best of us, but he didn't quite make it.
it's even more confusing because they say he is a collective, not he is part of a collective.
He is a collective.
He is a collective, which
This
it's a
I
whole
Am
new
Legion.
brand.
Yeah.
Because all the other skulls were individuals, but all together
Right.
as a collective. He is a collective.
This is so all those other skulls, eventually their consciousnesses are going to merge into one consciousness, one collective,
Well, maybe.
and that will be Max 2.
Maybe because he's so ancient,
Yes.
there's no individual anymore. That's
Right.
brilliant.
They have grown together.
You need to keep pulling shit out of your ass because I like it. That.
I'm here for you.
Oh God, I wish I hadn't said that. He's a collective. He's not from Earth. He gives this. He basically gives the same spiel about bringing knowledge and healing to the 3D beings on Earth, and the entire conversation with Max is just repeated, regurgitated garbage from the rest of the book. He does not add any new information to her life
That's actually very disappointing.
at all. I know, because they hype him up.
Yeah, I was looking forward to his revelations.
They're like, Max, you gotta meet Max. Max is the shit. He's so old, he knows so much. Let's go talk to Max. And he's like, we're here to heal and guide you. And I mean, you're not at a level that I can really disclose too much information, but it was nice meeting you.
It's like
fucking it.
It's like when you party with your friends and they're all doing heroin and they keep hyping up this guy named Max, and Max is the one who introduced them to weed back in the day.
Yeah, he's
And
just.
Max he's just a stoner who hasn't like moved on. He hasn't gotten into the hardcore drugs yet.
It's just rose tinted glasses.
Yeah. They love Max because Max brought them into this world.
Well, Max, yeah.
But to anyone else, Max is just a lazy stoner.
Yeah, he's just a son of a bitch. You just waste your time. So, at this point in the book, I had like 30 more pages to go.
Oh man.
And I was tired. I wanted to go to bed.
Yeah.
And I skimmed the rest of the book, the rest of the 30 pages, because
It sounds like you probably didn't miss much.
I I say skim, but I was carefully trying to find something that wasn't mentioned before, and there
Right.
was nothing. It was all the same stuff, just said again. And that was the end of the book. She goes home and she was like, I'm glad I met Max and that I've had this adventure, and I hope you can learn something from my adventure. And then the Ferrara guy does an epilogue where he talks about his experience knowing the author, and he's like, I've never talked to Crystal Skulls, but I mean, she apparently has, and it looks cool, so I hope to have the same experience. And then that's the end.
He absolutely didn't read it. He had a conversation with her. She was looking for someone to put on to help accredit her book.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just the first one that popped up on Fiverr.
I don't think he's on Fiverr, but I'm sure they are friends because he is into like crystal shit and stuff,
Okay.
and he meditates regularly and all that. I feel like he's more into like general positivity, bringing people up and making positive films because he's a filmmaker.
Right.
And I think she is just a level beyond him.
She's the extreme version.
Right. She's a bit beyond him. And so he's like, well, you're my friend and this is a really positive book. So sure, I'll, like, because the book is generally very shallowly positive.
All I got from it was open your heart.
It's just love people, love yourself, meditate, and do what's right. It's like so fucking basic when you weed out all the sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to this sort of thing, is because it's very positive.
Right.
There's really no downside other than people thinking you're weird.
Right, which there's levels too that you can go into. I mean, obviously, because you can get into this for the positive image of it and see, yes, I need to have a better outlook on the world, and what I do will affect my mood tomorrow, that kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then there is a level where you can take it too far and say that these crystals are guiding my life, and these crystals, I can't live without them.
Where you could hurt yourself.
You're changing the positivity from something that you are creating to something that is being created for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, is when it becomes dangerous.
And I did momentarily forget about the QAnon conspiracy stuff. It definitely has tendrils from QAnon in there, and
Right.
QAnon is fucking dangerous.
Right.
So I think that has less to do with belief in crystals and energies and stuff, and has more to do with these people are vulnerable to being sucked into.
They're looking
other
for
beliefs.
something.
Right.
Yeah, they're looking for something to determine the way the world works. This is a gateway, and then through this, you can find other more potent, more dangerous ways of believing. QAnon being one of them, but there's other things out there.
Yeah, and those two twin skulls were like all the skulls were like super positive and good vibes, and then the twin skulls are like, we're going to fucking war. You need to get your
Oh yeah, that happened.
your weapon energy ready. It's like I completely skipped over a lot of that, but they were very militant compared to the rest of the skulls.
Mhm.
It was kind of scary. It really turned on a dime there. So overall, I regret this.
Okay.
But I hope it was entertaining at least.
I had a good time personally. So we have our rating system.
Mm-hmm.
How would you rate this?
So for the first 4 chapters, I was voting hardcover.
Really?
I was like, this is so damn entertaining
Okay.
and interesting. I am way into it. And then as I read, and there's all these contradictions and things that don't make sense, and then she just starts repeating shit, it just went downhill. And then they hype up Max, and then Max is a bum. And it ruined the whole experience for me. If you just read the first 4 or 5 chapters, that is an interesting, entertaining, hilarious read. Awesome. And I would love to have, if it was just that, I would have loved to have that book on my shelf to show people. But it gets so nuts. And by the end of the book, the author is like patting herself on the back so fucking hard because her conversations with these crystals are so like flattering to her, because she is like, oh, thank you, light beings, for protecting us and guiding us. And the light beings are like, you're a really good person. You're you're on the right track, and you're better than everyone else. And we hope that you can show people the right path. And And when it got into that, I was just like, fuck this person. She's wasting my time now.
Yeah.
So that was a real hard 180. And you know, I was messaging you and I was like, I am laughing so hard. This book is amazing. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I was messaging one of our other friends. I'm going to beep that shit too. I was messaging and I was like, this is the book I read this week. I am filled with regret and despair. This book was completely devoid of logic. I am a sad person that I paid money for this. So my rating went from hardcover to shampoo bottle.
Okay.
Because I was like, well, it's something that's somewhat interesting.
Right.
By the end of it, it's fucking toilet paper.
Oh,
I hate it.
we have our first toilet paper.
I hate it. And it makes me so sad because it started off so great. But no, it's just she lost the plot and it just spiraled into her like sucking her own dick, even though she doesn't have a dick, I'm sure. Well, maybe she does. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? She's like, she just became so self-conceited and it didn't feel positive anymore. It just felt like she's just profiting from bullshit.
It seems very much in the vein of this type of belief system that is very surface level.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good on the outside when you look at it at first, and then as you dig deeper, you find that it's either nothing or rotten.
Right. They're compensating for a lack of something in their life.
Right.
Like they feel insecure, they don't feel loved, something like that. And these beliefs let them feel that they are.
They get something out of it.
Yeah, that they're treasured or they're special or they're important, that sort of thing. And that's like a vast majority of just like you look at anyone in QAnon and that it's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people who are just at home. They're not doing anything or going anywhere with their lives. And they're either feeling lonely or, you know, they're just disparate people that feel better because they're a part of these communities.
Right. And then once you have that attraction, once you have that sense of belonging, getting a person to give that up is one of the hardest things you can ever do.
But I'm very happy we got an entertaining episode out of this.
Yes. This was incredible. I am so happy.
It was a wild ride.
And I think that's what we can expect from this show as we grow too. We are not only going to look at sci-fi or fiction books or that kind of thing. Like we're open to suggest. I've already gotten a few suggestions from people.
Really? I'm excited.
On some stuff to read. We're open to suggestions. We have the email at page2far@email.com. Send us suggestions there. If you've read this book, let us. I don't think anyone has. We've picked so obscure, except for The Lost World, which is kind of more mainstream, but nobody's read it tonight. But if you've read this book, if you enjoy it, let us know. If you enjoyed the episode, let us know. We are looking to build up a social media presence we're kind of waiting on a few things to fall in. Once that comes in, we'll have all of that up.
Waiting on our goddamn thumbnail to be done.
Look, it's going to be beautiful, and we've already seen some pre-sketches of it, and it looks really, really good.
It looks really good.
It looks really
good. I
good.
would say it looks really, really good.
It looks better than anything I've commissioned.
It was just a sketch, but yeah, it's promising, and we're excited.
It is very promising. So once we have all of that, we'll start establishing everything once we can actually get our presence out there.
So people are probably listening to this like in 2 months or something.
Yeah, we're probably 2 months out at this point.
We're time traveling right now.
We are. Quick, somebody get a blender.
Miller, there's some titties over here.
These titties have a name. Their name is Yuki. The email, page2far@gmail.com. I've already said it, but we're happy to have you. Thank you for coming out here. Share this with your friends if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.